Jackson still trending in a good way with the
Yeah,
hand?
we had him just do some light indie today, so we probably won't know till later in the week. Might end up being a game time type decision. So, we'll have to just kind of wait and play it out by ear.
When did that happen? Do you know in the game when he got hurt?
Yeah, it was a long pass down the left sideline right before they converted a 3rd and 10 right after that. He played the, I don't know if I can't remember if the ball was thrown or if he just ran with him. He ran down the sideline. He went down on a knee for a little bit on the sideline and then got off, and then they converted the next play.
What's that mean for the position if he can't go? Who would be in line?
Yeah, we would start CJ and JC, and we've been playing Miles at the nickel, so those guys would go, and Keith would just bump up, and Stan would be ready to go. So we would just have those guys. CJ would get a start.
I know a lot of things are going wrong offensively the first couple of games, but how would you just in general assess the way Baker's played?
I think Baker's like the rest of the offense. He's done some good things. I mean, we were in the red zone 4 times last week. You get in the red zone 4 times, you think you're gonna have a chance to win the game. I just think for us, each game's been a little bit different. The first game we just got started slow. Then I thought he got really hot. In the second game, didn't quite work out the way we wanted. But I think that's a function of a lot of different things. There's guys are supposed to be on 20-yard overs that are like at 14, 15 yards, and we're making diving catches for 12 yards instead of touchdowns. And so that spacing gets right. Everyone's where they're supposed to be, and I think we'll see Baker really flourish. I mean, at the quarterback position, you're counting on a lot of different people to do things right, and just enough wasn't right last week. So we're working towards this week trying to play better.
You given any more thought specifically to the receiver rotation you've mentioned?
Yeah, all week we're going to give those guys an opportunity, kind of like we did last week, go compete it out. Again, I think the point you made was a valid one. I think we all feel the same way. Higgins is a guy we trust to catch the football. I think we're at the point right now where we're going to have to catch balls and contested catches versus this secondary. I think they're one of the top pass defenses in the National Football League. So to me, you're going to have to make contested catches. So whether that's LaVisca, Moo, Hig, we're going to have to just kind of play it by ear. And as you guys know, who's active on game day, a lot of it depends on some of these other things. If Dante's up, those numbers can shift a little bit.
Just your thoughts on how Baker responded to the passes being batted down at the line of scrimmage. Obviously, that was a trend in the first week. You saw it happen early, and then we didn't see it at all late in the game.
Yeah, I think I can't remember, what was it, once or twice in the first twice. The first one, again, it's always a function of a lot of little things, and it's not as much fun to not say, hey, it's just this one thing. Receiver's a little quick on his route. It's a 4-step route. He runs it on 2 steps. Quarterback speeds up. I think as we continue to get in rhythm, I really believe that the offense is just, they're just trying to find a way to kind of have everything click, and that's really a function of everyone just doing exactly what they're trained to do and letting their talent take over. So it's always little things. It's not fun to say because it sounds like you should just get them corrected, and we're working hard to do it. But I think when we do have the correct spacing and we are where we're supposed to be, as the game goes on, we settle down and we play better. So. I think you'll see Baker take another huge step this week, as long as the guys around him continue to take steps.
So you guys are ranked 28th right now in plays per drive at just 5. It sounds like if you guys can start sustaining some of these drives, a lot of this gets taken care of.
Yeah, I think I've said it after the last 2 games. The real factor to me is third down, winning third downs, and then again, when you're in the red zone 4 times, you have to come away with touchdowns. You can't take a sack on a screen. You can't have a negative run. You can't have those things. You can't have a penalty on 2nd and 4. So I think if you score some touchdowns instead of field goals, that changes things as well. The first scoring drive for us, I think, was a 16-play drive, resulted in a field goal. So we've shown we can sustain it. To me, it's just kind of getting out of our own way a little bit. And again, that just comes down to me, just everybody executing at a high level.
Matt, you guys had a lot of defensive success last year against Jameis and the Saints in the first game. What can you carry over, do you feel like, from that game to this year?
Well, I think Jameis is an excellent football player. He has a lot of weapons on offense right now that Olave's come in and provided a real deep threat. Michael Thomas is one of the best receivers in the game. Kamara and Ingram, 2 excellent backs. Juwan Johnson they use at the tight end position, and then obviously Jarvis. Some of those guys weren't here last year, so to me, as I look at it, it's just a whole different game. They do an excellent job of utilizing Taysom Hill in the run game as well, so we always have to have a plan for that. So there's a lot of different things that we have to plan for. To me, last year we got the lead. we played aggressively on defense, and we were able to get the ball out and win the turnover battle. And so, at the end of the day, we haven't won the turnover battle in 2 games. When they won the turnover battle against Atlanta, they won. When they lost it this past game, they lost. So to me, it just gets really simple. It comes down to if we can take the ball away and if we can protect the ball. And I'm sure if I listen to Coach Allen, he's probably saying the same thing.
And just to expand on that, can you talk about your observation of the Saints defense?
Well, like I said, it's one of the top defenses in football right now, and I think it's because of their prowess on third down and their prowess in the red zone. I think they're in the top 5 or 6 in both of those categories. Excellent up front. He starts with Cam Jordan, Davenport. They've got 2 bookends that can bring pressure. Lattimore's one of the best corners in the game. They've got Tyrann Mathieu, Marcus May, Demario Davis. Pete Werner's playing really well. So they've got a lot of really good players. They can play man, they can play zone. They'll mix it up on you. So to me, it's a function of going out there and finding plays that even if it's not perfect, just have to find a way to make those plays work. Stay in third manageable against them and be aggressive when you have a chance.
What will Raheem Blackshear's role be with you guys?
I think that's just kind of like a guy that we have interest in. Dan and Scott had scouted him and liked him and liked what he did in the preseason. So, to me, we had a spot in the 53. He's a young player that we think has a lot of potential. Where he fits in, as a returner maybe, or even as a 4th back, I think remains to be seen. So, but we wanted to take advantage of, hey, we have a spot on the roster. There's a player that we really liked, going and getting him.
You do any returning with the Bills? It didn't look like you had done much in college.
I believe he was a kickoff returner in preseason, but not really punt returns. In practice, I think he's done them maybe, but not in games. He's a really good football player. Was a good football player at Rutgers and then Virginia Tech, and then had a good preseason. So, good guy to bring in and see what he can add.
How do the Saints differ from under Sean Payton, if anything, so early?
It's probably hard to tell. I mean, they look so much the same. Coach Carmichael's been the offensive coordinator there for years. He's running the show. Coach Allen was the defensive coordinator, so they're the same team. Coach Rizzi. One of the untalked about things when you talk about the Saints is how good they are on special teams. And not just the return game. Obviously 11's a premier returner, but everything they do on special teams is at a really, really high level. It's a really veteran team, a team with a lot of confidence, a lot of swagger to them, a lot of players whose names you know. And so I think for our guys, it's not a far departure from the team we played last year because they have an identity, and I think it's a good one. So, we're going to have to go out and play well and kind of continue to develop who we are and establish our identity.
Bravion hurts. You've got a couple of young guys behind your starters, defensive tackle, who haven't played a whole lot. What have you seen from McCall and Hoskins?
Hoskins played in the first ball game. He's got a lot of talent. He's a guy who's flashed. He flashed for us last year. He's flashed in training camp. And then McCall got in the last game and to me played the run. When you play the Saints, the first thing you have to talk about is the run game. Their outside zone run game with Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram. I mean, they have one of the best centers in the game in McCoy. I mean, he can reach a nose like that. So guys like McCall, they have to be up and ready to go and play at a really high level. And I was really pleased with the way McCall played last week. So he's just a guy to me that, he coming out in the draft, he was like 365. He's now in the low 340s. He's done a great job here of getting his weight down, and I think he's going to be a really good player for us.
What's the difference when you're facing them with Kamara, without him?
I think when they have, I think Alvin Kamara is one of the, the great players in the game, right? And so can affect you in the run game, but can also affect you in the catch game as well. I mean, they're going to get him out on the perimeter. I mean, he can run shallow crosses. He can run all their choice routes. He can run loosey routes, option routes for them. So you have to know where he is at all times. But Ingram's a great player. He's a guy who's done it for a long time. He's an elite leader. He's tough. He runs the ball hard. So I think just in terms of the run game, it's a lot of the same. In the passing game, I think Kamara is someone you just always have to know where he is because he can do it from the backfield or from the receiver position.
The margin of error has been so thin the first 2 games. How do you widen that gap just a little bit?
It's a great question. I think you just execute at a higher level. I mean, I know that at the end of the day, in the first ball game, we talked about catching the snap. That's really where we started at, right? And the past game, we talked about we started the first 2 drives with fumbles. You really can't start like that. I think our team showed a lot of resilience in those games, fighting back. But you know what? You watch the Saints versus the Bucks, and the Bucks are going on the first drive, and Tom Brady fumbles a snap, and the Saints get it. You watch the Falcons game; they have a 3rd and 1, up 16 with a chance to win it. All they got to do is take the snap and get the first down, and they drop it, and the Saints come back to win that game. So I think when you look around the NFL, a lot of teams are dealing with it. We've just been bitten by it. You know, we haven't made the play to overcome it and celebrate it on Monday. I haven't come in with a celebration and been like, hey, we got to get this stuff fixed. It's been, you know, a little more somber because we've lost. All that being said, we just have to go back each week to what do we need to do, and we need to get the snap. We need to not have the fumble. We need to start creating some turnovers. We have to win 3rd down. We have to just execute at a higher level. It's all just football. It's nothing more. And so that's why we're out there today. We got to get it ready for this week.
When you are playing with a margin of error that small, how tough is it for all the guys, to go out there and play mind-free, you know, stress-free, and versus like if I make a mistake, it's over. Like that's our error.
Yeah, it's like the sooner you realize that there's going to be a lot of stress playing in the National Football League, but you're built for it. That's the thing for, you know, like that's the thing with young players sometimes. Like you're built for it. You got here for a reason. You're out there for a reason, man. You're supposed to be out there, and so. You look at the NFL this past weekend. How many games came down to the final? I don't care how far you're up, how far you're down. They come down to the last 3, 4, 5 minutes, and it's the teams whose pulses don't raise in those final 2 or 3 minutes. They just kind of stay even keel that have a chance to win. And you know, we've had 2 tough ones. We lost 2 games on 56, 58-yard field goals. I mean, we've hurt in the worst way. My hope and what we're trying to do here as a coaching staff and as a leadership group is, hey, through heartache, we're learning all the different ways that you have to win. We've got to block one of those field goals. We got to catch one more ball. We got to make one more play. And so, you know, that's the freeness that comes from, hey, you know what? No matter what happens in the first half, it's going to come down to the last 5 minutes. We get to those last 5 minutes, man. Let's just go play and just make one more play. And I think the more our guys stop looking around and saying, is Christian going to make the play? Well, you go make everyone go make the play. And that's kind of the message in this place is right now is like, hey, everyone go out, execute. When the chance comes, go make your play and shoot your shot and find a way to win the game.
You said you were close on Sunday. When you say you're close, what exactly does that mean? And is David Tepper, your owner, in your conversation with him, does he feel like you're close to it, headed in the right direction?
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about with Mr. Tepper and all those things. You know, what I say on Sunday after the game is my reaction after the game. You know what I mean? And so, you know, when I come in on Monday, you know, after the game, like, you know, as a head coach, you're responsible for the guys and their mindset and their psyche and all that stuff. And, you know, it's painful to lose 2 games by, you know, field goals that you're hoping aren't going to go through, right? But we lost them. So when we said that doesn't mean we're saying like, hey, it's okay. We're supposed to win. Like, we're here to win. And, I just, you know, sometimes when I say things up here, make no mistake, when we walk in here on Monday, there's no like, hey, it's okay, guys. Like, there's a bunch of angry people here that are dying to win, and they work their tails off. And so any thought of like, hey, there's a loser mentality in this building is a falsehood. Because if you're in this building, man, you want to win, and these guys want to win. And so to me, it's the whole point is, you know, we're close, but a lot of teams every team is close, man. You got to make the play down the stretch to go win the game. And that's the message. It's not that we're bad and, hey, we're just not good enough. But that last little bit of picking that ball, like to start off with 2 turnovers and then not get a turnover and still have a chance to win the game, that means they're doing a lot of things right. But, David, we got to do one more thing right. We got to make one more play. And so that's the message. It's not like, hey, it's okay. It's not like, hey, you know, all shucks. The message is, let's go make one more play. And I don't care who it is. Like, you're Marquand McCall, and you're on the field goal block team. Go block the kick, man. Let's go celebrate in the locker room. And so that's where we are. It's a tough place to be. It's a frustrating place to be. But at the same time, it's where we are, and you got to fight your way out of it. And that's what I want to see. You know, we got a lot of young players that are learning. You have to fight your way out of these things. And I think we have a good veteran group though too that understands that's played a lot of football, and they're gonna fight their way out of it.
How do you manage though the mental toll?
We'll do a couple more.
Okay. How do you manage the mental toll that comes with losing? I mean, it's a very competitive group. And as a head coach, how do you manage that with your guys?
Just the facts. Like, we go back and watch the tape. We watch what we did well. Watch we didn't do well. Watch, you know, even, you know, hey, we shouldn't have called this. Hey, you're supposed to be at 20 yards, not 8 yards. Hey, to me, when you go back and look at the execution, both by the coaches and the players, you see how much of the things that we left out there is within our control. the game can never be about the other team. We respect the other team, but it's about what we can control. And in the first 2 games, you take back 3 missed tackles, you take back 3 turnovers, you take back a penalty here, and we win the game. And so that doesn't mean that it's okay. It means, hey, let's control these things and let's just get better. And if we make one more play, if we have one less mistake, we make one better call as a coach, maybe we'll get there. And so, you can show it in the first quarter. You can show a 4th and 1 where we're going to go for it and we jump off sides. You can show it in the 4th quarter. They're throughout the game. And so as guys take responsibility, but it's not responsibility, it's power. It's like, you know what, if I just play that much better, we'll win. It's power of like, I'm a good football player. I play for the Carolina Panthers and I can help us win. That's the mindset. That's the aggressive mindset. There's not an aggressive mindset in the building, but you know what? We are where we are. We got to fight our way out. Sorry, Joe.
Sorry about that. Just Xavier Woods, what did you guys see in him that made you fairly confident he'd be a good fit?
The way the tape, obviously, and then after we signed him, so many people that had coached him or had talked about how he was one of the smartest players. Like I'll be honest with you, like even the 2nd and 4, where we tell Matt to try to time the snap up, and if you can get it, that was Xavier walked over and said, "Hey, coach, should we go with that play?" Like that's how smart. That's how in the moment he is all the time, and he is to go through this whole thing I've talked about of where we are as a team. He is there. Like he's a veteran player that plays with elite confidence, and his confidence, I feel like, is starting to emanate onto the other guys. Right? You can start to feel the other guys start to be like, X is quiet. Winning is quiet. Like there's quiet confidence to winning, and Xavier has that. And I feel like you see a lot of guys on defense I thought the defense took a step last week and played with real confidence in that game. And a lot of that I think comes from guys like Xavier. He gets the communication at a high level. He gets people on the same page, and I think he'll do that this week because there's a lot of things the Saints do that require a lot of communication on the back end, and it goes back to just his intelligence and his skill set.
You guys have just decided to go with Elfline?
Bozeman's 100%, yes, sir. Yeah, we just played with Elfline.
One more here, and then we'll do Chris, and that's it.
In establishing an identity for this team, what is your vision for what that should be or should look like?
Yeah, you know what? I've talked a little bit about it. Until we win, no one wants to hear me talk about that. We got to go win. I'm going to leave it at that because, we want to play great defense. We want to be balanced on offense. We don't want to beat ourselves. I've talked a lot about it, but we want to go win a football game. And, at the end of the day, we know that they're going to come down to the end because our guys are playing hard and they're playing physical. We just have to make a couple plays at the end of a game to go win one. But, we want to play great defense. I think we're trending in that direction. We want to play great special teams. I think we're trending in that direction. On offense, we have to just we have to put some drives together and kind of get into a rhythm. And I think we want to be a team where all 3 phases affect each other. If we get to that point, then, I think we're the type of group that can win games late in games.
How did you see the guys respond in practice?
They practiced hard. They were great on Monday. When I say great, they had the right demeanor. They're angry. They want to win, but they also understand that talking about it's not going to do anything. We have to go do it, and so they're working at it. I think the coaches have put together a good game plan. They've begun the process of executing it, and now they got to get out there and practice it today. Recover, and we'll have another good practice day tomorrow.
Real quick, so obviously you want a quarterback who keeps their eyes downfield, drives the football, high yards per attempt, all that. With that being said, Christian McCaffrey has had back-to-back games under 35 yards receiving. That hasn't happened since 2017. I'm going to ask Baker the same thing, but are there points where you'd like to see the quarterback just simply check the ball down more and make life easier?
Yes. Yep. Great question. Yep. There's some. They came out last game because I know you like the X's and O's part of it. They came out in dime and they played him. They put a safety on him, man, the whole time and just doubled him. So all your option routes and all that were kind of taken away. So that's what allowed us to run the football. I think right now we're 4th in the league in rush success. Like when we rush the ball, we need to rush it, convert some third downs and rush it some more. But they played us in dime and they said, hey, so we were able to run it, but they put the 2 people on, not always 2, but they put a safety on him. But there's some times where we can just check the ball down and get it to him. And I'm sure Baker's going to work on that. The coaches are going to work on that, and we're going to work on that. All right, thanks, guys.